about how their scrims were going. They were both very complimentary of each other.
It was like, I love the social media comments about how they were trying to reverse curse each other. No, you're really good. No, I insist. You are really good. And
you are the best.
Yeah, and clearly both have demonstrated an absolute excellence in the level of play. And right now, we find ourselves in a very slow-paced early game. No one quick to force anything, and that makes sense. When you've got a double AD carry comp on the side of T1, itemization is very important. Kobe, you were just talking about for Ambessa, you also want to get those cooldowns, you want the levels, you don't really want to try and force anything too early. And Shanks early on, of course, being put in the deficit that he's at, it's going to take a little bit longer to get that first item. So a slow and steady early game, a bit of a trade of objectives as 2 grubs secured by AL on 1 Dragon for T1. Flandre once again under a bit of pressure from Carrier and Faker.
But as is Doran, 3 members of AL here on that bot side as T1 poking away at Flandre. You can see Doran could be the target of a dive here. Will they look for it? Tarzan for now, just farming up this jungle camp as Doran will be able to pick up most of this wave. Shanks and Kyle trying to kind of butter him up though. He's now down to half HP, and they definitely want to consider this angle. Owner though is going to be spotted. He's moving down, so it could be a risky dive.
Yeah, they've got plenty of vision here, so AL not going to overforce anything. Here comes the Rakan support teleport as well with Spellbook, just in case. And they're going to get their reset off once again. Both of these top lane carry champions in 1v2s for so long means low income for each of them.
While people always talk about Lilia as this really fast farmer, I think people sometimes underestimate how quickly Maokai can farm. You know, the Maokai has actually stayed pretty much dead even alongside this. Tarzan has just been power farming, already has the injuries completed.
Yeah, AP Maokai cruising on through. And again, that ultimate is going to be such a critical part of how these team fights do go when we get the meetup. T1 going to have to problem solve, figure out what to do in that scenario.
It has been mostly Carry actually just laning with Faker here, making sure they can't look for any sort of hard engage. Faker with that range advantage, only way they can really do something about it is to hard engage on him. So it's been often Guma just kind of solo laning while Faker is here covered by Carry.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Hope trying to scale up on the Senna, farm those souls, gain more range for yourself. And AL trying to buy that time.
26 stacks on the Senna so far. Static Shiv being completed will give Hope a little bit more wave clear. Of course, he is behind in farm, but he is ahead in gold. So AL not going to be too concerned about that. Flandre is within kill range for Doran.
Nice root does land there onto Guma. And Doran, as you say, has Flandre quite low, but is trading back well. Doran was trying to posture, see, is there an angle for a dive? Is there an angle to proc that demolish? Couldn't find the opportunity to go for either.
Faker with flawless farm right now. A player that whenever T1 is in these situations is the one that we often turn to.
Shanks looking aggressive, but Carrier is here once again. Does land the knockup. Kyle coming in. Faker looking. There's the Senna ultimate to cover.
That's a lot invested right before this dragon spawns. So couple of ultimates here, some decent value. Although Faker now with no flash for that dragon.
Track of that as the TPs return. There's the rocket belt completed with the Trinity Force finished for Faker. A big spike for the man in the mid lane of T1.
We'll see though, can they actually punish this missing flash? Kyle caught out here in a lot of trouble, gonna be charmed up, and he is incredibly low, has to flash out. In comes Tarzan with the Maokai ultimate. It does connect onto Carrier. Kyle trying to get back involved as Shanks is looking for a fight on Faker. He's in a 1v2, but he looks like he's winning it. Faker getting incredibly low, has no flash. The abscond connects with the abduct. Shanks getting 1, he's getting 2, he's in a 1v2, and he likes the way that looks. Owner now coming down, trying to knock down Shanks. As a response, he's going to flash out to safety. Flandre is here, Guma flashes in, does get 1. The public execution doesn't take him down, but Shanks still surviving. Flandre now looking for more here. Tarzan flashes in, roots him up. Flandre gonna knock down Owner, and Shanks coming up huge when it matters most.
Shanks on the big
Berakhir
stage,
cepat
comes
sudah ini.
massive for AL. They win the fight, they take the gold lead, and the objective will be theirs.
The level of confidence from Shanks in that situation to take the fight to Faker. I mean, Carrier gets the steal.
What the fuck?
Won't have a way out, but he definitely had a way in. and he grabs the second dragon against the odds for T1.
We said it, Venias, never count out T1. Keria gets back in. A very early spellbook enjoyer. Keria makes use of it.
I mean, it is a nice steal, but when we take stock of the game, the gold swing in AL's favor. The Maokai ultimate rooting up Keria, who starts off an engage onto Kyle. He flashes away. Then you see the Rakan getting rooting up. Shanks goes for a 1v1 against Faker, steals away the Rakan ultimate, knocks them both up. Well, charms them both, I should say, interrupting the knockup. And then Shanks sidestepping and then getting the lockdown onto Faker to secure the kill.
So clean. Gets the kill and the flash there at the end, too. Worked around the minions to make sure he could get the stun. Flashing away, buying so much time. He got Guma's flash and ultimate out. And draws in the extra members of Team 1. Making T1 commit so heavily to take him down.
He even gets Doran's flash at the very end there as well.
Something I wanted to track here. Both smite charges were used by Tarzan in that fight. I think T1 must have noticed that, and that's, I think, why Keria goes. He had no smite, because both of them were used. So if T1 noticed that in the midst of the fight, that is pretty incredible to be tracking the summoners that closely.
So, AL with a small gold lead for now. Faker still has the edge over Shanks. That Trinity Force still something to be reckoned with. AL, though, in a position to contest. Shanks in an awkward spot as he's separated from the rest of his team. Could create a flank, though.
Flandre has no TP, so if they overcommit here, Doran could TP in and try to stop them. They're going to go for it, though. Shanks is behind them, poking them down. Gumayushi will be caught by the Maokai ult. Owner grabs the Herald, but now they're going to look for Shanks. Shanks could be in some trouble. The Sentinel going to buy some time as Doran has arrived, has the counter-strike. He goes in, he pops the ulti. Tarzan in some trouble here, but Flandre's trying to close the gap. He's running through mid lane to get back to his team, and Hope is poking them down. T1 in some trouble now. They're going to have to run for it. The Swirl Seed slowing them. Guma incredibly low. Doran threatening. The ulti will have to be popped. Can they chase in? These T1 out. And Flandre wants to cut them short. Goes in, gets one. Hope chasing onto Faker, looks for the Q to try to get Guma, could not find it. It is the Herald for T1. It is 1 for 1, but it was so close to being much more.
My goodness, so close. AL a little slow on the engage, allowing for Owner to secure the Herald. And they do what I think they should do. Collapse on the flanking member. Shanks goes for a bit of an engage. He uses his E, he steps up too aggressively, and Keria is quick to punish him. Being isolated from the rest of his team, T1 think that they can get a little more.
Yeah, you can see AL members moving in two different calls right there. Because Tarzan was leaving the play, Shanks still going in, and the early teleport that came from Doran meant that he was completely sectioned off. So Shanks going down at the beginning, but they still got the chase down kill.
Flandre looking for the solo. Flandre has the shield.
My goodness, the action is really kicking off here. They're trying to keep the Herald away. I don't think they're going to stop it. The tower secured for T1. And the goal difference remains close. This is what we like to see here in Game 4. T1 continue to fight back against the momentum AL built after Game 3.
They're TPing in. They're actually looking here for Faker. Faker is pretty far back, but is now going to spot Shanks here, and they are collapsing in him. He's going to immediately have to flash out. There's the Abyssal Dive. Charm comes through there from Keria, trying to peel for Faker. Faker still has nothing to get away, and he's going to get gobbled up here by Kyle and knocked down by Flandre, who goes on a rampage.
Beautiful from Kyle. He lands the slow into the Abyssal Dive and serves up Faker on a silver platter.
But T1, they're not the type of team to slow down. While all that pressure was being put onto Faker, they were pressuring the bot side of the map. They secured their second tower of the game. They push in this bot wave, and now they have great position around the dragon, spawning in 48 seconds.
They also got the feats of strength here with their Herald play in mid lane, but Hope trying to get a tower back. Shanks took that top lane one. Owner looking, can't really find much of anything. The dragon going to be spawning here in 30. And T1 will have their eyes on it. They are on their way to a potential early soul thanks to the steal from Keria, and would love to get that third dragon.
Dragon could be huge for T1 to find their way back. Keria here also very deep in enemy territory. There's not a lot of defensive vision for AL. They do have the one on the blue buff. But that's about it. So the approach to Dragon will be very dark for AL.
TP's committed. Shanks steals away Keria's ultimate. Probably one of the best options he has available. The backline access that he has. Oh, wow, he is testing Carrier's mechanics able to sidestep that one. The mid push will come through from T1. The bot push as well. T1 pushing on all sides, keeping the pressure up onto AL. Hope.
Faker valves forward, does get a nice little bit of chunk there onto Hope. As Dorian could be in some trouble, he is sectioned off. He maybe overstayed his welcome here, and he's gonna get charmed up and locked up. The Senna ult comes through. Dorian flashing out.
Nice. Masuk.
Multiple ultimates used there. It was the stolen Recon ulti, it was the Flandre ulti, it was the Senna ulti, and they didn't kill Dorian, who has his TP.
Exactly. He can just recall and teleport back.
Mundur
He
sini
won't have
sih.
a flash
Udah
for the
bagus sih
actual
posisinya
fight,
sih.
but the battle over the brush
Flank.
started out. He's
Nice.
teleporting behind them.
He is teleporting
Langsung
very deep.
Senanya.
Hope spots it. Will AL try to turn on him? Looks for the root, can't quite find it. Tarzan marking Dorian right now as T1 now have the inside track towards the Dragon. Owner getting his movement speed stacks here off of the Raptors.
Langsung.
Carrier's trying to go in.
Udah kena,
Shanks is in
aduh.
trouble. Dorian has caught him out as Carrier's in the midst of everyone. Carrier trying to get back out to safety. Shanks still battling with Dorian. They're both incredibly low. Flandre looking for an angle to go in.
Okay,
Guma
okay,
pushing them
sabar.
back. AL are low, but everyone is alive. And it's Carrier that's even lower. Dorian trying to
Oke,
push
gagal
through mid
combo
lane here.
pemburakannya.
AL look like they concede defeat here. They're going to back off and give the third Dragon T1
Nice.
again stands their
Satu.
ground.
AL didn't have the HP, they didn't have the resources, and they did not have position on the Dragon. T1 with excellent patience. Doran getting out of harm's way was crucial to the success of that play, and now T1 put themselves on soul point.
And when he got back, the pressure towards the mid lane
Ya lah, biar
side of
seru
the
gitu kan,
fight
dua-dua
that he's
gitu
putting
kan.
out, even down
Bisa fire
1,000
dapatnya.
gold
Game
compared
ini.
to Flandre, still having a lot of pressure. Faker, of course, on the Corki, though. The 2-item power spike is so big for this champion. Really making use of those rockets, really making use of that chunk damage to get T1 to soul point. They're building so much tension in this game, and Flandre is actually even starting up this Otacon here for AL.
Trying to clear out that ward, but doesn't quite finish it off. Shanks and Flandre hovering around the bot side of the map. My goodness, what a tense affair. AL now will need to win out the next Dragon fight to deny the soul from T1. T1, their resilience continuing to show through. And look at that, 2 items now finished for Gumayushi. You already mentioned the 2 items for Faker. T1, they don't have to force anything right now. They can slow the game down, work towards a few more components, and be ready for the soul fight that will be starting in 3.5 minutes.
And Hope is just about bang on the average here for the stacks. The average stacks at 20% at MSI has been 50.9. He's just ever so slightly behind that, of course, as we are almost at 22 minutes, but is going to be scaling well. Has decided to go for the early static shift. Sometimes people will go into a more aggressive build from here, but elected to go for the rapid fire for the poke.
And that's why it is pretty critical for T1 here to have all these dragons, so they can use this dragon soul as a point in the game to force AL, so that they cannot continue to stack and stack and stack for Hope forever. They've got so much damage on the side of T1, but they have to use it very wisely. They have to get good sleep from Owner and Carrier with a good charm engage.
Lebih bagus untuk
Speed 2 items for both Faker and Guma. These 80 carries scaling incredibly well. Faker had a very good start, got quite a bit up in gold, but Shanks has been battling back, finding kills in these fights, not to be outdone. Wants to try to close the series here. But T1 continually fighting for vision here, and Shanks gonna get aggressive. Can he find the absconded duck?
Nice.
Just out of range is Faker, and Faker now trying to turn and fight back.
Gila.
Trading Corky rockets. Faker gets
Mundur
the best
ya.
of him, though, as Shanks is low on health and mana.
Spacing from Faker there was just perfect. Sidestepping all of the Silas skills, dodging the rockets, and then throwing rockets
Mundur
back in
dia.
the zone. Forcing Shanks back. Will he have enough money for his upgrades? Have to imagine that he will. There is the Cosmic Drive now completed. Both mid laners at level 13. The Dragon only 2 minutes away. You can see how both teams have been working as quickly as they can to get as much gold as they can ahead of the upcoming fight.
And these fights are just going to be so much about the execution. There's really no true tank on either side. You know, the Jax that's on Kench can be somewhat tanky. You know, just utilizing the counter-strike as Carrier pops the Ghost, will be able to jump out to safety.
Betul dikejar.
Felt confident he'll be able to get away there. Doran finally finishes off that tier 1 top, but they see him there, and
Okay,
AL have started
Doran
up the
ada
Otacon. Will
TP.
they stay on it, though, as T1 is around? Doran
Habis dia
can
back
base,
ini,
look to buy, and then he
TP
does have a
langsung ini.
teleport if they feel he needs
Mau
to
mau.
join. Hope still on his way over here.
sini.
Otacon down to about half HP. The TP going to be spent as Doran is looking to join. He just
Okay,
bought his
posisi bagus
Seekers.
nih,
That
posisi
could be
bagus nih.
critical. Will he go in? Doesn't look for it just yet. It's getting
Langsung,
lower
langsung,
and
langsung.
lower as Flandre is
Ini,
getting
ini,
poked
ini.
down by Faker on the side. Down to 3K.
Ini,
Doran
ini,
going
ini,
to the
ini.
midst of everyone. He's on to Hope, and Hope could be in some trouble.
Langsung dapat tuh, udah tuh.
It's going to be Guma. Who else takes it? Flandre, Faker fighting on the side.
Pegar. Nice. Ini lagi.
T1 are pushing forward.
Okay,
That
good.
saves it from Doran was critical. Shanks gets knocked down by Doran as he comes out of the golden.
Mati ya.
Hope
Guma ya.
pushing them back, but T1 only lose Guma. They do get 2, and Guma claimed the Otacon.
T1 clutch.
Siapa yang dapat sini? Arkan ya?
Look at how they
Ini ya?
force this. They lay down
Guma
the
ya?
feathers, and then Doran goes in for the flank. He teleports in, he sees the 3 members, so even as the Maokai ult goes through,
Nice
Doran
banget
goes
sih.
in. Guma focusing on the Otacon right there, along with Owner, and they burst it.
Oke,
Just
betul.
28 health left after the smite went through. Meanwhile, Faker had done so much work on Flandre on the
Ini
side
Doran bagus
that
banget
then
sih.
he was able to push
Posisinya.
off Flandre, get that kill on the side, and gain momentum
Oh,
for
ini sayang
T1.
banget.
The fact that they were able to kill Guma was the biggest surprise to me, but Doran's flank, I think, was instrumental. A well-coordinated
Nice.
team fight from T1. Everyone seeming to know exactly what they needed to do. They secure the Otacon, and the Dragon will be spawning in a second.
And the fact that Doran killing that top lane tower gave him just enough gold
Oke,
to get the Seekers before that
posisinya.
fight. Bases, TP's in,
Oke,
plays
nggak ada
so
flash.
aggressive knowing he has that in his back pocket. But his second item will be very
T1
delayed
punya flash
because he's
semua.
between
Harusnya
2
lebih
items
gampang.
right now. So yes, that was strong for one fight, but Flandre on the other side is massively stronger right now when you look at the actual combat stats. The Broken Seekers is going to do nothing
Oke,
until he gets
Silas
gold to
TP.
upgrade that into Azonius.
Doran has been doing
This could
so
be Soul
much.
though.
Mana mau cepat nih, cepat.
T1 going,
Aduh.
Tarzan trying to get in, they're going to burst it down, they
Okay.
do claim it. T1 claim the soul, they're going to look for Faker though, the
Bisa.
back in onto him, but Carrier is there to peel.
Silas.
Shanks in trouble, gonna get gobbled up by
Okay,
Kyle,
nice,
but
Doran.
it's Doran in the back
Maju.
line, trying to take over. Owner going in,
Nice.
sleeps on
Nice.
T1,
Wow.
and the
Nice.
infernal
Itu loh.
sweep for AL as
Keren.
Owner makes no mistake. The multi-man
Rapi
ulti
banget.
was perfect.
A flawless team fight for T1 as they wipe AL off the map. The magic of T1 is not over just yet.
Gila,
As they
N
look
kah?
to push us
17
to
detik.
game 5.
T1 on the international stage here, synonymous with clutch.
T1 not to be outdone. They find their
Lama.
window. They take
Cepat.
their moment. They're knocking on the Nexus.
Enjoy.
You know what's coming.
Enjoy.
What else could it be? In a
En
battle between
gila.
teams like this, it's
Dang.
game 5.
Wow.
I gotta say, Doran did so much work
Gila,
with
gila,
such
gila,
low
gila.
resources this game.
Oh, yeah.
In a game where the 2 top laners had to 2v1 for so long, starved out of so much gold, he made critical plays near the end game team fights.
Doran sih bagus banget
Escaping
sih.
first on the bottom side, the 3-person attempt at his life before that dragon fight. Coming in with the flank on the Otacon.
I
The
mean,
value there.
this series couldn't have gone any other way. We're being pushed
Doran
to
sih
game
bagus sih.
5. LPL versus the LCK.
This series is delivering. Desk, who do you think takes it in game 5?
Well, we're not going to answer it just yet, otherwise nobody would be listening to our analysis.
Gila,
But
padahal
I will add it at
poinnya
the
tuh
end of the
menang
series, I promise
KL
you.
loh.
We asked at the tail end of last segment
Hanya dalam
the
2 kali war
magic
aja,
that T1 can
kalah
always
udah
count
10.
on, or well, count on themselves when it comes to international tournaments like this. We haven't really seen it. Now their backs were against the wall for multiple of these skirmishes in this game that if they lost them every single time, it would have lost them the game.
And they were right. For me, Doran had such
Yeah,
a
bagus banget
major
sih posisinya.
impact. It was the Otacon fight where I felt like he was doing a lot. Here is another example. He is sticking to the back line and making Senna's life impossible to fight through.
Yeah, came up huge. The Otacon fight is also
Let's
the huge
go.
one for me.
Ini seru.
But again, where it started is, remember back all the way
Oh,
to Gen G1. If all
Astagfirullah.
the games are kind of like blurring together in your mind. And Ruler gets that clutch second Drake steal, right? I think anyone's Legend did such a good job playing these team fights early and the skirmishes early, especially Shanks. But the Carrier Smite steal
The unsealed spell book
actually ended up
menace.
becoming huge for T1 in this because it then put them onto Drakes. It made Dragon such a massive priority
Yeah.
that AL then had to
Timing
fight
Carrier
with
ngangkat si
T1
Silas
sometimes
langsung.
having set up on that. And I think that it's kind of fun to see that go from what we saw in the Gen G series to, just the drive-by spellbook.
And I love that you know when that happens and it gets stolen against your team, you're just so mad, you just kill him, you just like press all the buttons, but the damage has been done.
I'm just zooming in my
in-game.
jungler usually. Jungler is asking why no one's zoning for him. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and that magic is just excellent team fighting, especially if they lost the last two skirmishes because Shanks had a great game. They come back the next time, and I was focusing on Doran. Another star for these fights was Owner.
Yeah.
His Lilia, a pick that I didn't see coming going into this game, was a massive one. It's great versus Maokai. If you have a long fight, you're a menace to deal with, and those Lilia ultos really played a massive part in these fights.
And Doran, he's just such a smooth criminal.
Yes, he is.
This entire fight actually starts because they blow so much onto Doran. He ends up escaping, TP's back in, right? And then as this Drake starts up, he's just keeping Shanks out of the fight. And this ends up being crucial because we talked about how important Shanks has been for anyone's legend in the fights. It was that clutch kind of recon ultimate steal that we saw in a previous fight in this same bot side river. But yeah, Doran is doing work on this Jax.
He is, and I love that you brought up Shanks. And when we look at Shanks versus Faker in this series, I do feel like I remember more of the plays from Shanks. I see where he's trying to kind of push the issue, whereas Faker is just relying on the rest of his team. They all do it together.
That being said, that last game was hell for AL's early game.
Yeah.
Like, all three lanes were getting shoved in. Specifically, mid lane was like down like 10 or 15 CS extremely early on. They were getting sieged constantly through topside. They didn't allow Senna to really stack up because they ended up swapping pretty easily, and that allowed Jax to be able to get, what was it, Ruby Crystal longsword bot lane while Doran shielded and BISA is stuck top. I think, once again, T1 are so smart in their early game. They played out their early game spectacularly, especially since the game before that AL did well there. So it felt like it had to go to game 5.
Yeah, it's 2 blue wins now for T1 as well. And this one, I do want to top it off with the Atakan fight if we can, just so that we've had everything. But again, I just want to say that you cannot overstate how important every single skirmish was, because if you lose one of these, you're probably getting wiped, right?
Yes, and just take a look at Doran. They see him on the flank, but they know it's coming to a 50-50 on Atakan, so they focus on him and just let Hope deal with the Jax, which is crazy. All that being said, Flandre was dealing with Faker on the bot side of it and was losing. So in a long skirmish, in a long fight, especially since they had to peel off the Jax, T1 was flourishing.
That also split the fight. Tarzan actually moved up away from the Otacon,
that is perfect.
Right?
That is excellent.
Oh my god, that actually moved Tarzan up off the Otacon, right? So it's also why T1 were so easily able to grab that objective as well.
Yeah, oh, that's so good. I love that sign. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Yes,
but
you are.
I do want to look at a couple of things in terms of T1 at internationals. We requested this T1's Game 5 win rate at international events. Now, I don't know what it is, but it's 55-40 record, 57.9% win rate in Game 5 at international events. I think what this picture shows is that it's never easy, even if you're the favorite going into Game 5, even if you're the underdog going into Game 5. It is always very difficult because the tensions are never higher. The thing is, right now, T1 has to trust so much that they've done this so many times before.
Remember what MSI started with? The first MSI in Tallahassee. Game 5. Game 5, EDG versus T1. Game 5, it was like a major situation. Of course, T1 lost in that one, but it means so much for T1 as world champion after world champion. MSI is the tough one. As you can see right here, 2022 is the last time they were in finals for this one versus
I love
RNG.
that you bring up Tallahassee because EDG was actually not the favorite in that final game. We get the Evelyn moment. We get Clear Love. We get LPL Magic, right? And on their side, that's a huge victory and maybe something to want to channel going into this Game 5.
And a small thing too, the last time T1 even won an MSI was 2017.
Damn,
was the
bro.
roster with Bang, with Huni, Peanut, Wolf.
In Brazil, yeah.
Exactly. That was such a long time ago, and they want to be able to reach that peak again.
And on the other side, though, Emily, we do have to give credit to AL as well, because they love playing these brawls in the LPL. They do it all the time, so I don't think they're going to be particularly phased. But the question is also, now you're at the edge of Fearless. Now you're actually
That's true.
at that moment where you have to make crucial decisions. How do you think AL is going to pilot this one?
Yeah, I'm actually super curious to see what they do in draft, because with this one, they had 3 losing lanes.
Yeah.
That's great.
And even though they were able to come up ahead in a few of these early skirmishes and actually set themselves in a pretty good position until some of those team fights started going wrong and Doran started ripping through them, not fun to play with,
The
right?
Reddit K-word might be coming.
Yeah. Oh,
For draft.
not a
Let's have bot lane
Hey.
cryo.
So, predictions on the desk where we went for T1, you went for AL. Do you want to flip-flop or not?
I'm not going to flip-flop, but I didn't ask the crowd before. I didn't ask them what their prediction was, and I'm going to start. Anyone here rooting for AL? And now I have to ask the bigger question. Who's a T1 believer in here?
And finally, I hope everyone will cheer for this. Who wants to hear some Silver Scribes? Coming right up, it's going the distance. AL versus T1, one last game to decide who gets to face Genji in the grand finals. Let's scrape some silver.
Wah, rusak mic gue nih. Ada yang salah. Salah sama mikrofonnya kecil.
This could be Soul though. T1 going, Tarzan trying to get in, they're gonna burst it down, they do claim it. T1 claim the Soul, they're gonna look for Faker though, the public execution back in onto him. but Carrier is there to peel. They're turning on his Shanks. Shanks in trouble. Gonna get gobbled up by Kyle, but it's Doran in the back line trying to take over. Owner going in, sleeps on everyone, and it is the eternal sleep for AL as Owner makes no mistake. The multi-man ulti was perfect.
It all comes down to this in Vancouver. One last game to prove it all for anyone's legend. It's about writing their name in history, and for T1, it's about writing another chapter in history. Now, are you ready for Game 5?
Welcome back. Game number 5 about to kick off here. Both these teams took Gen G to 5. We knew that they could be evenly matched coming into today, but we're getting treated to the full 5 here once again. A record for international tournaments. We have already had more Game 5s than ever before at any event before. And I'm so happy that it is here in Canada to be back home with this incredible crowd and these amazing teams, the absolute best in the world. It has been my honor to be here with you all.
What an incredible series. Both AL and T1 have put everything on the line. For AL, it's about proving what they're capable of. For the LPL, getting some revenge against T1. And for T1, it's about continuing to solidify their legacy. A team that showed struggles in spring, but those struggles never seem to hold them back when it comes to the international stage. A team that has sought after an MSI trophy for many, many years, and they are on the precipice of a rematch against Gen G.
Let's get into the all-important game number 5 Fearless Draft. Pantheon will remain permaban the entire series here. Owner's Nocturne as well getting a nod as we get super. You have to believe that Azir is going to be permabanned as well. There's no way either of those two champions are getting through. Nobody is trading that. And so we still have yet to see the Poppy make an appearance. I feel like that power goes way through the roof.
The Skarner and the Sejuani also very valuable, especially if we're thinking about a slower, more teamfight-oriented game. The Caitlyn respect towards Gumayusi going to be taken away. Gentlemen, I hate to say it, but Kalista does rise in value as we get into Game 5. So many of the power 80
Don't you put that bad juju out there. We don't want to see a Game 5.
Imagine if the Kalista gets its win in Game 5 of this series.
I mean, Jinx also to me has a lot of priority now too. Tabe sometimes says, Game 5, Jinx, we just win with Jinx.
I also really am a fan of champions like Ashe, which has been relatively low priority. Can be strong Zeri, can be strong Jinx, and we're getting TF here. Has not been successful at MSI, but it is a champion that if you can execute well on, you can dominate the side lanes, you can find picks, you can control movement on the map.
I mean, I would say it hasn't been successful at all. 0-7 here at MSI, a champion that, alongside the Kalista, has not been able to win teams many games. AL putting a lot of faith in Shanks here in Game 5. The Alistair, an engaged champion that we often see early in the draft, has been left open all the way until the end. And that Jinx that you were talking about, Kobe, in the hands of Gumayusi.
He's hovering it. This T1 team, they lock it. This T1 team that this year, as you touched on, so many changes. Zeus to Doran, controversial.
Ziggs bot.
The immediate response as well. They were expecting this. The Poppy comes through as well. Wow, AL with a clear game plan coming into Game 5.
Absolutely, and this can be really difficult because what they're going to look to do is gold card onto the Jinx, Ziggs ult immediately on your head. They're looking for this sort of combo where you can dive into the backline. And Jinx can be pushed in and poked. It can be difficult. It's not the most comfortable for some AD carry players. We have to see how well Hope can actually perform on it. He has played it a couple times already this split. So it
gives you a lot of potential for playing the map. When Ziggs can blow up towers on the side lanes, create more space for Twisted Fate to work with and find some picks. and keep that pressure up.
I do like what
Join
T1
it,
have as a
Cam.
foundation, though, for their draft. Simple, straightforward, front to back. Put your trust in Guma. This Jinx in the clutch has just been so valuable, especially in these game 5s where the pressure is really high. Teams will show that extra bit of respect, which for a Jinx means that all she has to do is concentrate on farming, getting that first item. And if a member gets low and she connects that ultimate, the snowball quickly begins.
We turn our eyes towards the top lane then. Camille protection ban here early on. Taking away the Hextech ultimatum, which is a great combo with working
bisa dikit put pakai.
Also, Camille really
Aduh,
good.
ntar kita coba pakai duet Cam ya.
Deal with Twisted Fate, backing up, split push Camille. I do like that strat.
Got a lot of poke available to them. If they want to start fights, it's not going to be an easy thing for them to do. T1 have a very solid front line. So they're looking into the Twisted Fate with Rise gone, with Silas gone. Your ability to play through sides is not the easiest.
Tinggal
I
install
think
dulu.
it's a smart ban. When playing with the Ziggs, you can leave that Ziggs alone, safe to free farm in the bot lane. The Bard would have a lot of access to roam around the map. Well, that is going to be denied. I wonder if things like
Alistar, Jinx, Skarner.
Things like the Gragas a possibility as well for a little bit more disruption. LeBlanc taken away from Fake. Now that's a throwback.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go so deep here to find an answer in the mid lane now. Is it going to be probably
Things like Akali still up and available.
A bit risky into the Twisted Fate.
If you do want a control mage, Way definitely fits the bill.
Yeah, I mean, it also fits nicely with this front-to-back style comp that they're going for. When you see how much range AL is going to get, especially when that RFC comes through.
What? Kasadin ke? Oh enggak. Kalau Kasadin sih.
As he will lock in the way.
This does mean that they have two low mobility carries at
Lucu
their
sih.
disposal here. The Jinx and the Hui must be protected.
The debate right now for Flandre, does he want to go full towards the tank? Or does he want a little bit more of backline access, a little bit more carry power? He will
Sekarang beda ya drafternya.
instead.
And the pressure will be on Doran to do something with this counter pick. Doran, the newest member of the team. All eyes have been on him.
Oh, of course, the Poppy support. My expectation was that it would immediately go into the jungle, but they're bringing Olaf out into the jungle. They want to run this Jinx down.
It's very good against, Skarner and Alistar CC here. If you're looking at those two low mobility carries, and the only thing you have to get past is hard CC peel, that could be your way in.
The one thing I've hated about Twisted Fate comps is it feels like there's not enough damage to facilitate it. Aatrox plus Olaf,
Gragas?
threatening backline.
Gragas was the pick I was thinking. Doran has looked good on it, is up and available, and will give them some more explosive engage. You have to contain the Olaf, though. It feels like there's going to be all eyes on Guma. Get into the backline, the Olaf, the Ziggs ult, the TF ult, everything piling in to try to take down this AD carry.
I mean, Doran's Gragas is a champion that he's brought out and had... I've lost the word. He's truly had amazing performances on it. He's been so clutch, and it's been one of those picks that, as you
Brutal lagi nih si Tarzan nih.
when he needs
Ya
to
Olaf
make
dia.
magic happen. Naturally, as you said, eyes do fall on Gumayushi, but Doran can be the facilitator, can be the playmaker, can be the difference maker in this game 5.
All right, in game 5, with all of this pressure, we bring up one of the controversial picks, the Twisted Fate.
Duh. Iklan re. Iklan bro. Tuh, pencet lagi. Kepencet. Kepencet iklan. Ya bro, nanti kena copyright aku nih.
In the last game, Doran on the Jax came up huge for the team. Carria with the Spellbook Smite Steal to get them the extra dragon, the extra range to the soul.
It'll be only the 4th Way game for Faker all time. Has not lost on the pick just yet. Man with the champion ocean, always going to have another bag of tricks to pull from.
Right now, it is control over this brush, the entrance to the bottom river.
Dosa kamera, dosa kamera.
Off invades at level 1, you always have to be really respectful of that. If you get tagged by the axe, it could be trouble. Faker knows it and is playing far back.
Dosa kamera kita pakai.
Notice the ward that Shanks was able to get deep in enemy jungle that is going to show the transition back to this other side of the map. They've got Raptor ward as well as deep blue quadrant ward to try and track owner because of the invade.
Bit of chip damage already going to come down from Hope. So many times we've had this conversation about Ziggs, but it is very much just about farming in the early levels, wanting to get back to base so that you can have access to mana. Once you do get more mana and more levels, then your wave clear becomes a lot stronger. Showing us Tarzan's path, starting on the Raptors and then immediately moving towards the top side.
I think Tarzan might have some sort of plan for some invades going on because they have so much deep vision, and he's going Raptors just up to this top side.
You can see T1's placements at MSI. They lost in this
Ya,
match
aku
the last
cuman
couple
videonya
years.
doang ya.
Have not won since 2017, back with the roster that had Huni on it, and are looking to get back to the finals to try to claim another MSI title here for T1. Worlds has always been their tournament. They always perform well at MSI. Their dominance has not been the same as it has at that World Championship.
Yeah, MSI, last couple years, stopped by the LPL.
The trade's very aggressive. Heal's going to be used on both sides here. It is Spellbook this time for Kyle as well as Keria. Both players have been making great use of it.
Meanwhile, on the top side, we've been focusing so much on the bottom side of the map. It's Flandre off to an early lead, getting some nice trades against Doran, forcing him underneath the tower. Both mid laners throwing spells back and forth.
You can see AL trading pretty aggressively, and Tarzan did start Raptors, then cleared up to his top side. He's now reverse clearing back down. I wonder if he is going to try to find some sort of an angle to get aggressive, or just wanted to end on this bot side.
I think it's very much that. He wanted to make sure that he could just go straight towards that bot Scuttle Crab. He does playing with Pry on the bot side of the map right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at that too. They go for the early recall for Guma. Back, he's got the Cole and Doran's blade, and they're going for the swap already. T1 making the call.
Good poke there from Faker. Just trying to whittle down this TF. Being able to have Prio in a matchup against TF is so critical because you want to punish any roams that they go for. Keeping them locked under the tower is often the recipe for success, denying those roams before they even happen, or at the very least, if they go for it, making sure they punish. But you can see the early swap top. Guma is up here, Owner is behind. Flandre respecting the potential for this dive, but I think they're going to try to look for it. Owner will be the one to try to set it up. Body slam flash connects. He's stunned to the wall.
Nice.
First blood. T1 strike first in game 5.
That was that recall timing on the Cole money for Guma. They make the call. They timed it right at 3.5 minutes. They recalled him. They sent Owner on over after the clear. They find their first blood. Keria got solo experience on the bot side for quite a while, and then they could just teleport Doran back over to cover.
A flawless dive, flawless timing, and a flawless start for T1 as they do find that kill onto Flandre. Not only do they alleviate that pressure that Flandre was putting down onto Doran, the only downside is that that kill didn't go over to Guma. If they had, they could have started the snowball on this Jinx, because meanwhile Hope was just free farming on the bot side of the map. You can see he has about a wave of an advantage, which is equalized due to Gumayushi being a part of that kill in top lane.
Part of the kill and also part of the plate that they were able to grab right off the back of that on that top side. So Guma does get paid. Shanks gonna be a little bit annoying here as he interrupts Faker's recall. Kyle down here now with Hope. Will be the mismatch lanes here, but I do think this favors the Gragas. Obviously very safe, a lot of wave clear here. Doran should be able to hold on, I think, pretty well in the 1v2.
Yeah, tremendous amount of sustain, both in the kit as well as in inventory. Doran still with his potion, as well as the double biscuits. Meanwhile, Flandre is out of juice. Empty inventory up there as far as the consumables go.
And he is on the Null Magic Mantle, obviously, because of the double AP solo lanes, because of laning against Doran, but now he is laning against Guma. AL, though, will start up the early dragon here.
Coba kita ganti.
Again for a repeat dive.
Lagi. Yo.
Held onto his flash last time. He was perfectly CC chained by Doran and owner. Carrier has flash this time.
Nggak jadi karena naga.
It would be too risky.
A lot of time being spent. They're doing a good job of denying Flandre a lot of farm.
Tes satu
Once
dua.
he gets this wave, he should tick over to level 6 and he'll have a little bit more self-defense against the threat that T1 is posing on the top side.
Yeah, there were actually some red question mark pings inside the jungle over there. So T1 were clearly without the extra vision of KAIRO, they're not sure if it was just Tarzan on the dragon or if there was a Poppy coming through to defend a dive. So they call off the play in case there was defense from AL. In the end, AL get their dragon.
Kyle hovering
Okay.
around the mid lane, wanting to drop some wards to provide information to both Shanks and Tarzan.
Nggak bisa baca komen lah kalau aku begini.
Into mid lane from Carrier, something
Nggak
we've
usah
been
lah.
seeing a lot more on this patch since the buff to Unsealed Spellbook. Tarzan though just power farming through his jungle. The route that he's chosen means that just on spawn, he's immediately back on those camps, and he's starting to build a small farm lead and an experience advantage over Owner, but Owner should be able to close that in no time.
It's going to be really important for Tarzan to stay ahead of the pace of the game. There's no utility on this pick. The Olaf does one thing, and it does it really well, but you have to be strong enough to get into that backline, to send it for these carries. This is not a champion that has a good fallback plan. You need to put yourself in a great position to succeed. And Tarzan has been stellar for AL, not only in this series, but really all year for them.
Truly has. A leader on the team, as we've gone over multiple times here, really at the heart of this AL team. And as you say, if you're an Olaf and you're running down a Jinx, you better have enough threat behind you.
I mean, the Poppy's really going to help with that too, because any wall that stands in your way, KAIRO is going to be right there next to you to move that wall aside and give you access onto that Jinx. We talked earlier in the series about how when that Varus was playing into the Jarvan, it was going to be difficult to navigate. Well, now that pressure is going to fall onto Guma. Both Flandre and Tarzan are going to be looking to put pressure onto this AD carry, while Hope and Shanks will be looking to apply as much poke as possible. T1 looking more so for that front-to-back team fight as they continue to scale up.
All right, the grubs here and available. Lots of extra experience in here for the jungle. Would be very nice for Tarzan to grab these for AL. Of course, they're the team with the Twisted Fate and the split push possibilities as well for later.
Looks like they're going to try to look for a steal just wide of Tarzan. Timing was on point. The aim just wide. Might have been able to steal one away.
Nice interrupt there.
Exactly, interrupted there by KAIRO, who does take over to 6.
This is interesting. This could be a trap play. The Skarner's going for counter jungle, but Twisted Fate has ultimate ready.
We'll see if they're going to be able to spot him out here. Baker pushing in on that bottom side, has eyes on the TF, so shouldn't be able to actually get that ulti off. Owner has to bail out, can't actually take the red buff.
Yeah, good defense there. The threat of the Twisted Fate ultimate and the Poppy here. KAIRO comes over, defends his jungler's red buff. As you said, the resources for the Olaf critical. They don't want to give away anything on the other side of the map.
You can feel the tension as Tarzan is just kind of quietly playing his game. Of course, he is behind in gold, but full objective control going his way. They did leave a grub up on the top side of the map as Tarzan wanted to quickly get back into his jungle and continue his clear. Red secured. He's going to now go back to the Raptors and start moving his way through the jungle once more.
I think this first fight, when it does break out, is going to be so critical. If Tarzan can pick up some early kills, can get ahead in gold, all of the peel from T1 is magic CC. You know, it's being able to just ignore everything there. Run through the Gragas, the Skarner, the Wayfear, the Alistar combo.
And KAIRO, look at this deep vision KAIRO is getting super deep into the jungle. Both Krugs and Raptors warded up. Tarzan now finishing his re-clear up towards the top side. He can easily pick up the third grub, which is so nice when you have this Ziggs that can blow up towers. AL have the possibilities of ballooning a lot of mid-game gold through tower destruction. Once Ziggs get those down, once they proc the Void Grub and open up some territory for the Twisted Fate to work with.
Tarzan now back for this third grub. They hadn't actually collected it earlier, so he's going to be able to grab it.
Nicely done by Tarzan. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to base and starts full clearing once again. He's probably sitting on a decent amount of gold. Going to clearing what camps he can, but it feels like Tarzan is just one step ahead of him in terms of the clear.
And meanwhile, T1, They've built this comp for the 5-on-5s. They've built it to try and keep Guma and Faker safe. The two low mobility, big carry champions here need the extra safety. Keria doing his job with the extra vision on the bottom side, so you can try and hover up there.
The Sundered Sky now finished for Tarzan. Of course, with Shanks going for the Rod of Ages, it's going to be low damage here in the early game, but Faker hasn't completed his item either. Perhaps Tarzan feels that he's strong enough on this Olaf to just force the issue. Faker a little bit low on HP as Shanks found some nice trades. Flandre pushing out that top wave as Doran has just reset. Both top laners have TP available.
T1 just trying to buy time for Faker. I think he has gold for his first item. He's heading back to base now with that teleport, so they want to make sure that AL doesn't have an angle to start before Faker can get back here. And he is teleporting, and there is that Blackfire Torch as expected.
Provide a huge amount of AoE damage here. AL going to start it out, and here comes the contest.
Both top laners have their TP. We'll see if they elect to join. Shanks has the ulti ready. Will he look for an angle in that backline? He's fighting with Faker on the side as Kale goes forward. He's looking to get the ejection.
Nice.
Over the wall, and stunned into it. Knocked down, and the Ziggs ult was wasted. In comes the teleports. Doran is there. The team. Shanks flashing out, but can he get away? Curious zoning them off. The zap connects. Shanks is in trouble. Shanks is in trouble, and he's got nowhere to go. Guma gets gifted the kill. T1 win the fight off the heroics from Owner.
Owner comes up huge, yoinks him right over the wall. They get their kill. They get their dragon. T1.
Andre interrupts the recall, but can they punish it? Looks like no. Doran was there trying to cover. Both teleports were used.
Such a massive momentum shift. We were talking about how tense that first fight was going to be. Tarzan felt so strong on the Olaf, but it's Gumayushi that picks up not one, but 2 kills. The Yuntal's now completed. Gumayushi ahead in gold, and now this Jinx is going to be a real problem for anyone's Legend.
This is exactly where they want their money. And let's take another look at it, because Kyle on the bottom side is going to start channeling the field, but Owner over the wall barely snipes him and yoinks him right back over.
And now Shanks finds himself in a very awkward position. The TP comes through from Doran. He chains ZC Shanks. He gets him away from the wall. Shanks is forced to flash, but he's just flashing to his death as Flandre retreats and leaves his mid laner to fall.
And in the arms race between an Olaf and a Jinx, with the Jinx getting 2 early kills, you can look at the disappointment there.
I mean, that shows it. They're going to look for a play here on the Faker, though. Gold card, locked and loaded. The stun does connect, and there's the ulti popped here by Tarzan. Faker has nowhere to go. Can he get one back? Doesn't look like it. Great play from AL to get one in the side lane.
Okay, the Olaf trying to catch back up there in the arms race then. Tarzan with some money too. See about the rest of the map though. Should be fine wave clearing bottom side there with the Ziggs. Hope can hold that no problem. It doesn't look like there's going to be an early push before this Rift Herald. 50 seconds waiting on the arrival of that Herald.
Shanks needs to keep making plays like this, catching T1 members out on a side lane, threatening that collapse. Congratulations to Owner, passing on 7th all time for the total number of assists at international games.
You almost jinxed them, but not quite.
Very close. AL will secure the first tower of the game. The next objective for them would mean that they secure the feats of warfare. Herald spawning in 15 seconds.
Exactly, and look at the setup work that they did. Again, super deep vision leading up to it. They go for their reset timers though, and T1 move in. Get control of that critical brush at the opening of the river.
Yeah, most of T1's vision have been on that bottom side to play around the dragon. But it is T1 here first at the Herald. Gonna be pulling it, starting that up. You can see everyone from AL coming out.
Guma has both summoners ready as well. When he's got his cleanse and his flash available, T1 are incredibly dangerous.
Good early poke there from Faker onto Kyle. Gets him somewhat low. Keria popping the ghost, looking for an angle. As the Ziggs ult does not connect, just barely onto Faker. Guma though getting chipped down some. AL know they need to chip them down before they fully engage. Doran is on the side, but Guma has the covering fire. Look at Faker over the wall, trying to threaten here. The Herald's getting quite low. Kyle looking for the knockout. Can he find it? No.
Nice. Nice.
Charge, and Guma gets another
nice.
Tarzan
Ulti.
he's looking for Doran. Can he knock
Bagus.
Guma is
Itu bagus. Mantap banget.
And you know what that means. T1 are running
Nice. Dapat itu. Wah. Wah. Udahlah. Rata dah. GG. Bagus banget ultinya. Beneran. Itu bagus banget loh. Lihat. Oi.
The barrel onto Shanks, knocking him into the team. The pick in the tri-brush. Everything going the way of T1. And Ona securing the two-person ultimate. A perfectly executed team fight puts them firmly in control of Game 5.
Doran with the heroics. Body slam flash over the wall, catches Shanks, knocks him right into his carries. Shanks could do nothing. And you can see the excitement on the faces of the T1 staff. They are so far ahead in this pivotal Game 5.
Game 5 heroics are what matters. And T1 coming up huge in back-to-back fights.
AL, the pressure must be mounting massively. They are so close to the finals. They've performed extremely well at this tournament. But now with the lead that T1 have, they're going to have to find some crazy plays to turn this one around. They'll need to find picks, utilizing this Twisted Fate ultimate. Perhaps there's an opportunity on the bot side of the map. But the Dragon is alive. And T1, they just want to keep fighting.
And Guma still has both sums. We were mentioning this before the last fight. He still has Flash and Cleanse available, so he can play so aggressively with the amount of peel that the T1 frontline have.
You look at Hope, no Flash, and Keria has his, so that explosive engage is available. T1 have this low. Flandre is in the pit. He has not been spotted, so he does have an angle to look for a flank. Shanks now clearing out the ward. AL does expose themselves. Kyle channeling the ulti, but T1 backing up. Dorian, though, goes too far forward. Is going to get knocked out. AL trying to burst this down. Can they take it? They do get it, but the spiraling despair comes through. Kyle is just gone. Tarzan is in the midst of all of T1, and he cannot win that fight. Great backstep from Guma. The Ziggs ulti. Shanks trying to flash out to safety. Hope is just being body blocked by Keria. You shall not pass. Knocks him back. It's another kill going the way of the Jinx. As Shanks is in trouble next. Has the gold card prepped, but it just does not matter. T1
Nice.
It's 12-1 in the pivotal Game 5.
Keria continues to deliver these kills to Gumayushi. 7, 0, and 5 for the AD carry of T1.
Jinx dikasih makan.
Faker in some danger.
Faker potentially in trouble. Flandre gonna pop the ulti, trying to catch up. Faker still for himself. Guma arrives. Owner's still in some trouble. The teleport is gonna arrive now from Hope. T1 get out. Faker survives. Doesn't even need to flash.
Hunt here, looking to find something. He at least does stop the recall there, but can't get anything more. T1, they got their fight win and they got Faker out alive.
It's Guma that's getting all the kills, but this game is all about the supporting crew. Ono with his engages, Keria with the utility that he's providing, and you'll see how in the entrance, it's very difficult for AL to approach. Flandre comes in from over the wall with the TF ulti, dissuading T1 from engaging. Ulti onto Doran, ulti. Once they get the objective, AL can't stay in the fight, the damage has been done. A nice ulti from Faker comes through, and they just go pick up the bait. And look at Keria on the back line. The two-man knock-up, he's going to just shepherd Hope, wait for his team to arrive. The flash comes through from Shanks, and then just look at this beautiful delivery from Keria, hand-delivering him to Guma.
And Guma hitting zap after zap on Shanks, keeping him in range, slow after slow to be able to chase down the extra one. They let nobody out alive.
The last 5 international winners, 4 of them have been from the LCK. If T1 does take this series, it would be an all-Korean affair in the finals, guaranteeing the 5th straight international title for the LCK.
They are headed that way right now, and Guma is leading them there. 100% kill participation from the Jinx.
Guma udah beli Mortal Reminder ya. Itu Mortal Reminder
kan? The Artican, an objective that T1 have loved to force around in this series. They know that they're stronger in the fight. AL are going to have to find some magic in this game 5. This Jinx is so strong, and here we go.
They're starting it up already. Keria and Doran on the side, trying to block them out. The Herald will be summoned as a distraction, but Tarzan, Kyle, and Hope coming in on the side. TF ult is going to be popped. Shanks is trying to join from above. He does land some good poke there onto the back line. Faker incredibly low. Will they just back off here? Doran finds the reset onto that Otacon, so it's back to full HP. Faker is going to base. He has his teleport, so he can reach to force. They're going to find Flandre. Flandre on the side.
Nice.
Flashes out, but can he get the same team? You see Kyle looking to knock Owner away. He gets a stun on the wall. Faker's TPing in. Flandre is down. Kuma is legendary. Owner in the midst of everyone. Shanks trying to get the damage out, but they just don't have enough. Owner is still standing. No HP. He survives. And T1 want more. Keria goes in. Knock up on a Kyle. Kyle is down as well. It's the reset for Guma. It's the chase down for T1. The body slam connects onto Hope. Guma gets another. And Shanks is going to fall as
nice.
Marching down mid. It's a slaughter, and T1 are the executioners. Keria and Doran beating kill after kill into Guma.
17 kills under T1. Keria and Doran start the engage off by once again hand-delivering another meal to Guma. Faker with the TP, cutting off their escape, funneling the rest of AL back towards the river. Shanks TP's in, Tarzan thinks he can turn it around, but they just don't have the damage. T1 pick apart AL, and they are tearing them apart in game 5.
Nobody left alive. Keria popped his ult. Him and Doran just constantly holding down each and every member of AL.
Tarzan knows, Shanks knows, this could be the end for them. It's going to take a miracle, if not multiple, to be able to try to come back in this game. An over 8,000 lead now for T1.
Tarzan is deep in enemy territory right now.
And they're going to hunt. Keria is moving up there. Will they be able to actually chase him down? Tarzan has been spotted. Double TP here to try to cover AL. Has their jungler spotted though, and Tarzan is still hanging around. The rest of the T1 members are down for that dragon, so AL trying to surprise here. Can they actually catch Faker? Heal used for the move speed. Gold card comes in. Ziggs ulti through. Faker in trouble. Flashes out, but Tarzan is hunting, and Tarzan gets the shutdown. The teleport's coming across here.
Nice.
Turn around, Carry in the midst of everyone, and it's a double for Faker from the grave. Doran arrives now. T1 low on damage, but they just want to keep them around. Guma is coming as his owner. He's taunting them. And look at Keria. He is just styling on them. Owner is almost here now. And AL, no, they don't have the damage. And he's soon to be dancing on their graves. Flashes out, but does get shut down. Hope in trouble. Sidestep though, Owner does not connect. Guma still on the way. Not here just yet. But can there be an angle for AL? Guma now arrives. Owner still surviving. The ulti can expire from Flandre. Take one with them. The CC is never ending here. They get another shutdown though. Hope another kill. Maybe gives them some way in. But Keria styling on him. I have never seen him playing like that. On an international stage, the confidence is just oozing out of T1.
People love the T1 circus, and they are starting to have some maybe a bit too much. Some shutdowns going back the way of AL.
And you can see the idea of AL's composition as well. Faker did get a double kill in that fight, but the idea was well executed as they caught him out on the top lane, the follow-up from the Ziggs ulti, and that's the type of poke that AL has available to them with this composition. It's true that if T1 don't show proper respect, there's a world in which they can concede one too many objectives. A single Baron could still flip this game on its head.
Big bold swings are possible when objective bounties are up.
Gila itu Guma 11 anjir.
With such
Anjir sakitnya tuh.
that they can go clean it out and force you to walk into darkness versus Keria, Owner, and Doran. This front line that has been so good at setting up for the carries. Here we go. With the Scuttle Crab, they'll see all of the wards. They don't even kill it.
Tarzan might be in some trouble here. Doesn't want to use the ulti just yet, but he is in so much trouble. Now gonna pop it, try to turn around here. Shanks coming in from the side with the red card. Flandre is rooted up, and Tarzan
bro, itu Sakit banget sudah tuh jinxnya.
As well. Guma legendary again as Owner goes forward. He's looking for Kyle. Hope trying to lay down some covering fire, but he can't do much. Shanks now retreating back. The carry's still alive here for AL, but Owner looking for the dive.
Nice, boy.
Shanks is locked up, and Shanks is gone. The ignite pop there onto Hope. He's got to get back to safety if they have any hope of holding on to this game.
T1 is hungry for blood. They find another 4. It's only Hope left alive as another tank falls. The Baron is there for the taking. And T1, they are dominating in Game 5.
It's like a waterfall when all of the tension just releases in game number 5. T1, fight after fight after fight, just crushing it. Having fun now on the stage. And the Baron will be theirs.
Tarzan trying to get there as fast as he can, but it was obviously too late. Can we find someone on a late recall, catch someone, get some purchase in this game? T1, I think most people are betting against them coming into this series, but it always feels like when you count out T1, they just get stronger and stronger and stronger. The struggles they're always able to overcome never cease to amaze me.
Yeah, a crazy year for them. Saves for Doran, swapping Guma and Smash, working so much this year. Everyone just thought it was going to be HLE and Genji, the representatives, but T1 climbing right back up, and they're moments away from looking to a rematch with Genji.
And I was right there with everyone, thinking that it was going to be HLE and Genji, thinking that T1 wouldn't even qualify, and yet here they are, Game 5. 11,000 gold advantage, potentially moments away from closing the series and looking for that all LCK rematch. They took Genji to 5 last time. They certainly want to do one better, try to take him down this time. T1 pushing in 2 waves here.
You can hear the roar of the crowd supporting T1 as they break into the base. The ulti comes down.
Owner not able to connect there on the Impale, just barely. Flandre does back up, but the wave clear, not enough. Owner gonna get knocked out here. There's no real angle for an engage from AL. Their damage is just too lacking. They can't really go in. And Kyle has the flash out there as Faker shoots out the Spiraling Despair. Can't quite connect, but that's another summoner down. That's another resource lost here for AL. And they are working with scraps already.
Gumayushi is monstrously strong.
T1 looking, posturing. The Nexus towers and the Nexus, all that remains between them in the finals. The tower is going down incredibly fast. Faker somewhat low, but AL, if they're going to make a stand, it's got to be now. Shank's going to pop the ulti here, but can't even find an angle. He's going to look for Faker. They're going to go for the fear.
Nice, bro.
On to Shanks. Into the back line goes KL. They do get 1 kill. Shanks still surviving. But Guma is alive. Kyria is chasing Hope. Owner is there with the CC. And it's T1, baby. The more improbable it seems, the more T1 continue to vanquish the LPL once again.
GG.
And with that, the LCK will show their dominance once again. They will secure an all LCK finals here at MSI 2025.
Banyak banget blundernya.
The controversies and the struggles, T1 once again find themselves in an international final. It's been a few years since they were last in an MSI final.
Ini kalau kemarin yang ngalahkan Genji tuh, 3-0 itu, ini kah?
They showed their resolve. They demonstrated their excellence, and they find themselves in a rematch against Genji once more.
A valiant effort from AL, an honorable tournament. They can stand proud.
An incredible team with a very bright future, pushing both Genji and T1 to the brink. 5-game series against both. We know we will see AL again. This team is going nowhere. They've overcome so much to get here, and they really did prove their worth.
Shanks for his first international tournament absolutely killed it, and I am excited to see him return to the international stage. A player that has worked so hard throughout his whole career. I have high expectations for him in the future, but what can you do against the inevitability of T1?
Baker with a nod to the crowd and Vancouver loving it. Have to give credit to Doran as well. Has been labeled as an international joker, but he showed up massively multiple times in 5-game series when T1 needed him. Back against CFO, he was heroic. His engages here as well. Fantastic on the Gragas.
I mean, him and Carrier, they were just bullying AL. The fact that Carrier was dancing on them in the top lane as well. What a performance from this duo.
Okay.
The stutter step
I
on
know.
the international stage.
T1.
The swagger, the confidence. But now ahead of them, Gen G, the reigning MSI champions, a formidable foe.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Final.
I mean, we basically said one LCK final wasn't enough.
Lagi ruler sama Packer.
We are joining Lord, G-Sun, and Owner for the Verizon post-game interview.
T1 is inevitable here at MSI and forever as they will face up against Gen G in the finals. 승희 축하드립니다. Thank you so much for joining me. Game 5s have been so one-sided here at MSI. How do you explain this, and how do you explain the fact that this one was so easy for you?
이번 MSI에서 5세트에 가면 굉장히 원사이드한 경기가 많이 나왔습니다. 그 이유가 뭐라고 생각하시는지, 그리고 이번 5세트는 왜 이렇게 원사이드한 경기가 나왔을까요?
이제 5세트 정도까지 가면은 이제 집중력 싸움이라고 생각하는데 초반에 처음 실수가 나왔을 때 그게 좀 가장 크리티컬하다고 생각하고 있고 그 이후로 약간 집중력 문제로 계속해서 손해보는 팀은 계속 손해봐서 이렇게 원사이드하게 좀 나오는 것 같습니다.
I want to say, once the series goes all the way to Game 5, it's all about the focus, all about the concentration. So once you start making a minor mistake, it's so critical. You know, it affects your concentration. And I think the one who started making mistakes, it's just going on, and it's a very big impact overall.
I see. And looking at T1's composition, I feel like you guys are blessed with two junglers. How does it feel to have Kumayoshi as your secondary jungler, securing objectives all the time?
또 T1의 라인업을 보면 요새는 정글러가 2명이 있는 것 같습니다. 구마요시 선수가 아주 중요한 순간에 또 오브젝트를 잘 좀 확보해 주시는 스틸도 많이 나오고 있는데 이렇게 구마요시 선수가 세컨드 정글러로 있어서 든든하진 않으신가요?
사실 이제 구마요시 친구가 글로벌 공을 굉장히 잘 써가지고 이제 제가 스틸할 수 없는 상황일 때도 많이 스틸해줘가지고 그런 부분에서 믿음직스럽게 생각하고 있습니다.
Kumayoshi is really good at global ultimate, so when I'm in a position where I cannot actually commit for steals, he's always there with global ults to take the objective, so very reliable for sure.
Absolute teamwork from the team, and something that is crazy is that thinking a few weeks back, we did not even think that you guys would make MSI, and yet again, you are getting ready for another final. So tell me about what has been going on backstage for you guys to bounce back the way you did.
사실 불과 몇 주 전만 해도 T1이 과연 MSI를 진출할 수 있을까? 자체도 굉장히 불투명한 그런 질문이었는데 이제는 다시 한번 결승 자리에 오르면서 또 한번 증명해냈습니다. 경기를 치르지 않는 그런 백스테이지에서 어떤 노력이 있었기에 이런 변화가 가능했나요?
이제 뭐 저희는 오랫동안 좀 많은 국제대회도 나가고 결승전을 좀 많이 갔기 때문에 그런 경험들 때문에 저희가 조금 주춤하더라도 이렇게 끌어올릴 수 있었던 것 같고 그래서 그런 부분들의 믿음 때문에 저희가 다 같이 으쌰으쌰해서 여기까지 잘 온 것 같습니다.
Because we have so many international events experience and we made it to final so many times, we know that we can bounce back. We have the faith in ourselves, so we managed to kind of pick ourselves up together and push it all the way.
T1 plot armor is real, and you guys are gonna do your first MSI final since 2017 in a rematch versus Gen G. Now, last time they pushed you guys to 5 games, but how can you know that this time around is gonna be different and that you're gonna win against them?
다시 한번 젠지를 결승전에서 만나게 되었고요. 이번에 승리를 한다면 2017년 이후로 최초로 다시 한번 MSI 우승을 T1이 가져올 수 있게 됩니다. 저번 경기는 사실 5세트까지 가는 접전이었는데 이번 리매치에서는 어떤 점이 달라서 승리를 가져올 수 있을 거라고 자신하시나요?
이제 저번에 이제 젠지랑 했었을 때도 저희가 1세트 같은 부분에 이겼어야 되는 경기들을 저희가 아쉽게 놓쳐가지고 그런 부분들이 좀 크지 않았을까 생각하고 있고, 그래서 1세트부터 저희가 준비한 대로 잘만 한다면 충분히 이길 수 있는 상대라 생각하고 있고, 그럴 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
I think in the previous series, for example, like game number 1, there were a lot of games or moments where we should have won, but we could not. So this time around, if we can follow our plans and make things go as we kind of prepared, I think we are strong enough to beat them.
And do you have any closing thoughts and words for all the fans who are here cheering for you today and making this incredible atmosphere here in Vancouver?
마지막으로 밴쿠버 현장에서 뜨거운 열기와 응원 보내주신 팬분들께 한마디 부탁드립니다.
네, 이렇게 오늘 또 너무 많은 분들이 와주셔가지고 저희를 응원해주신 여러분들 너무나 감사드리고, 여러분들의 힘찬 응원 덕분에 저희가 5세트까지 가는 와중에 이렇게 또 승리를 했다고 생각하고 있고요. 이제 마지막 젠지 전에도 이런 힘찬 응원이 있다면 저희가 충분히 이길 수 있다고 생각하기 때문에 저희 끝까지 믿고 응원해주시면 좋겠습니다.
Thanks to your loud energy and support, we were able to fight through this 5-game battle and get the win today. I really, really appreciate it. And if I can get another loud one tomorrow up against Genji, I think we will get the power to defeat them. Thank you so much. I love you all.
You heard that, Vancouver. 오늘 인터뷰 너무 감사합니다. Jisun, thank you so much for the translation. And T1 advances to finals once again.
Finals lagi tuh.
This team, I cannot believe they are doing it again and through the LPL once more. We have a very special guest on the desk, Becker, the GM.
Berapa sih
in going to game 5, I think I did. Yeah, I think we were very well executed with the pick and bans. Players are very calm, and I think they were ready to take a game 5, so I believe it in.
Is there anything you can do going into game 5, right, in the supporting crew, or do you just trust that they've done this before, they have all the experience, but is there anything you can say to them in those moments?
Well, 80% of that, and then 20% when the players need more water, we just let it. But make sure in the back of the stage there are a lot of things that player might need, so we always try to be aware and make sure that, because the waiting time is so short, so yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, because one thing that we heard from Doran in joining the team is people ask them like, oh, what is the T1 magic, right? And his response was, it's how well prepared we are, it's how well the staff prepares us. How has it been integrating him with the rest of the crew?
I think given that Doran's already a veteran, I think we didn't really ask too much for him. We just tried to be what kind of characteristics he have, like what we need to prepare for before the game, during the game and everything. Just want to make sure that he's in a comfortable spot. We just try hard just like our players do.
Nice.
And just taking a step back, the last time you guys were in an MSI finals was like 2022.
Long time ago.
2017 was the last time you guys won. How does it feel?
I think for past 2 years we always got knocked out at this stage. So we really
2022 itu sudah ada
I think it really meant
Kuma dan kawan-kawannya ya. Harusnya ada
we're
sudah.
going to face a very big rival of us. Great team Genji is, but I think we are ready and we are confident that we can do well tomorrow as well.
Do you have some kind of explanation why at Worlds T1 is practically unbeatable, but usually at MSI is not where you have all the reps?
For international stage, I think it's a weeks of staying at the one city or to multiple cities. So I really got a problem with the managers and staff that consist of T1. They're great, and also the players. I think they're really trying to make sure they're 100% life cycle routines and everything. They're just very professionals that I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, we can see it. We have some stats in terms of T1 and as an organization in international game 5s. Now 17 and 9, Emily. That is starting to tick over, right? And when we talk about this last game specifically, I feel like it was get behind me, president, and the president is Gumayushi, and then Gumayushi says, no, I'm the president, let me shoot him. It's just unbelievable, but a very risky comp.
A risky comp considering how many ways that anyone's legend did